Okay. Call the meeting to order. It's 5:59. That's close enough. If you'd all stand, face the flag. As we say the Pledge of Allegiance.
Pledge allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Okay, under agenda items before the approval, we will, if you look at item F, consideration to approve a mobility leave, we will table that for the time being. Other than that, does anybody have any additions or changes that they're aware of? If not, I would look for a motion to approve the agenda with that amendment.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Kurt,
I'll second.
seconded by Jerry. Other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried. Approval of the minutes from the last two meetings, December 15th, January 12th. Anyone see any changes or areas of concern on those last two? If not, I would look for a motion to approve.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Josh,
I'll second.
seconded by Brenda. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried. Scheduled presenters. We have an old friend with us. He's old and he's a friend, so that fits. We have a We the People fundraising request. Tony?
Yes, thank you. I'm here on behalf of Heather Eschke and our We the People group. We again have won the state, as I'm sure you're aware of. That was on December 11th, and we now have 19 young people who are very anxious to get to work. And we just found out, by the way, we got a new questions today, so they're going to be working on those real soon, if not tomorrow already. So. But again, we have come to ask the board for permission to do our fundraising in order to raise the funds necessary to get these kids out into the national competition in Washington, D.C., which would be at the end of April. There still is no money coming from the federal government at all, so nor the state for that matter. She's able to come up with a little money, the coordinator, occasionally, but most of this is being done by the students who are the ones who are doing the fundraising. We help them organize different events and things that they can do, and they're responsible to be there and help earn the money. We are also trying to make sure we're staying true to what we've done in the past. We don't ask any family to pay more than $600, and we find out through fundraising that we can gather the rest if we need to do more than that. So, and we again would like to have your blessing in doing so.
Do you know what you're looking at doing as far as some of the fundraisers?
Well, we've just started looking at it, but I know we're going to do some of the bagging of groceries like they've done in the past. We will have a mailing campaign. In fact, we've already have some donations that have come in already. So we know some of those people will be donating again. We have, I think, I'm trying to remember what our last list consisted of, but we may hold another night at the winery. We did that. We're still looking into some of the activities that we did because we were actually holding back when we were doing endorsements. So, but it'll be very similar to things we've done in the past.
Okay.
And you'd be able to make sure with Jake that that's not a repeat of any other groups, fundraising attempts?
Yeah.
Okay.
So it looks like it's a discussion item, but actually we can make this a voting item if you choose. So
I'd make a motion to approve that.
a motion by Brenda to approve the fundraising effort for the We the People,
I'll second.
seconded by Jerry. Other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried.
Thank you very much for your
Congratulations.
consideration.
Good luck.
They're very excited. I can tell you 19 of them, and they're ready.
Matt, are you one of them by chance?
Oh, no.
Oh, you're not. I was hoping you could give us the inside inside scoop.
We were hoping too, but he's a year too young for
That's
us.
right, you are,
Next
you're
year.
too young.
And Tony, we're not seeing as much of you anymore. How is life after retirement?
My life is pretty good. I had some issues early on. It was about 3.5 months of rehab from the cardiac surgery, but after that, things started falling into place, and I'm doing pretty well. I got involved in a few other things at the senior center over there and some other things that I'm working on, so I'm busy enough to and I'm over here. I know I'll be
Yes.
more so now. And I enjoy coming back. It's great.
Good to see you, thank you.
Thank you.
Thanks, Tony.
Public forum. Anyone have any issues pertaining to the school that they would like to share or make any statements? Now is your time. Closed. See how patient I am with that. Finance report, attachment B.
This one is short and sweet this time, and we'll kind of maybe look for some advice or guidance, but maybe doing the normal report more quarterly. It seems to be kind of a repeat each month, and now a whole lot of new information, and maybe it's something we bring to you when there's something a little more outstanding, but we can discuss that at a different time. But this is just going to be now the cash flow worksheet, kind of what's going on until we got here through March. And the big thing to note, on top here, the check balance was about $3.3 million until we made our debt service payments, which actually were cash today. So we've got 3 debt service payments in all. They're all 2 relating, the top one's to the building remodel in addition, and then the 2009B is actually the OPEB debt service. So a total of about just under $1.4 million was cash today now for debt service payments. So you see as the cash flow, as we go through the rest of the fiscal year, will kind of dwindle. But it does stay in a positive manner, so we're not even doing any anticipation borrowing. Like I said, I've kind of shortened up the finance presentation for this month, just because it kind of seems to be the same thing over and over. It kind of gets a little bit redundant, so maybe a quarterly report might be the best in the board's use of time. But if you have any questions, I can do my best to answer what you'll have.
Do we have any questions? If not, I would look for a motion to approve the finance report.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Kurt. Second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Jerry. Further discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried. Nothing under old business. Under new business, we have consent agenda items, attachments C, D, and E. If for any reason somebody wants to isolate any of those and pull them out of the consent agenda, we certainly can do that for further discussion. Otherwise, I'll just give you just a couple of seconds to look at the personnel items.
I will just quickly note on attachment D, the long-term sub will be pertaining to item C. So just so you know, they're technically out of order, but you're approving one for number C, or letter C, for family medical leave.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Jerry to approve the consent agenda.
I'll second it.
Seconded by John. Any other discussion? All in favor say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? Carried. Approval of the expenditures, attachment F.
How about 43720 corporate mechanical? What was that in just for 4,748?
Dave might be able to answer exactly what it's for, but it's going to be in relation to the boiler.
Oh, okay, all right.
Trap fan repair for boiler number 1,
How's it doing?
still running.
Just a general question, are we getting broken down invoices now from, everyone I see Ryan Electric is on here, and I know that was one of the questions before. Are they breaking down their invoices to us now, or they just give us $1 a month on an invoice for a period of time?
That Ryan Electric in particular is still an invoice from actually prior to me starting.
Okay.
I gotta be honest with you.
The ones
I
I've
haven't-
seen are.
I haven't used them since.
Okay.
But I understand that we do need to make sure that they are broken down, so if for some reason I were to use them, I would definitely make sure of it.
43838. Football equipment. It's gonna be some helmets and pad repair and that kind of stuff. It generally is almost like a year off the cycle. Kind of like saying the season, he puts in those things. So he's using this year's money for next year's equipment essentially.
Yeah, just wasn't
And he'll do the
sure
same
if
thing
those-
next year.
That's the school football, not boosters, correct?
Right.
Okay.
Can I ask about 43666 teachers on call? Is it, are they billing quarterly or how does?
Monthly.
That's monthly, okay.
Is that what we get, Josh,
Well, we
monthly?
get the weekly invoice for them, and
Are
which
we
will see
paying
here
monthly?
can be anywhere from 4 weeks to 6 weeks, depending on when the board follows.
Okay.
And when the board meeting meets.
Is this pretty consistent, or is this just really up and down?
It's fairly consistent. I mean, there are gonna be periods when there's high usage, depending on trying to make a long weekend or whatnot, but generally it's pretty consistent.
So is that December 19th, so is that November, Thanksgiving timeframe?
Mostly, yeah. The stuff you're looking at here is gonna be generally about 4 weeks behind where we're at to date right now.
They're all right around
Through
that.
Thanksgiving to Christmas, so pretty consistent.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Jerry. Second?
I'll second.
Seconded by Kurt. Other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? That is carried. Consideration to approve the Family Medical Leave Act request, March 11th for 6 to 8 weeks.
Yes, Russ Peterson is requesting a leave. It'll be anywhere between 6 and 8 weeks. We're very fortunate to have Karen Adele on staff, so she has agreed to do the long-term sub for us. And she's licensed in that area, so that really helps us out.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Brenda,
Second.
seconded by Josh. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried. Consideration to approve the second reading of the 100 and 600 policy series and the 2014 legislative revisions.
Yeah, I know a lot of you went to classes at the MSBA conference, some breakout sessions. Any of those that you did have questions on, I know people specifically emailed me. These, again, the 100 series are very, very straightforward. But I will take questions if you need.
None here.
I'll make a motion to approve the 100 and 600 policy series.
Motion by Kurt. Second?
I'll second.
Second by Jerry. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye. Aye. Opposed? Carried. Consideration to approve the spring head coaches attachment G.
Jake, can you explain the golf thing
Yep.
so that they all
Yeah,
understand
no
that?
changes personnel-wise. The only thing was looking to do is to break apart the boys and the girls golf. They've always had 3 coaches. They continue to have 3 coaches, but we've had a head, an assistant, and a junior high coach. They've always acted as a boys coach and a girls coach. But there's kind of always been some questions because we have one guy we call the head, but then there's the boys coach, and so who's really the head coach? The money's the same. They've agreed that the previous head coach would still get the head money, and the assistant coach would still get the assistant money. It's just officially breaking it, boys coach, girls coach, so it just eliminates those questions on who my coach really is.
And questions that come in.
Yeah.
I'll make a motion to approve.
Motion by Jerry. Need a second?
I'll second.
Second by Josh. Any other discussion? All in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? That is carried. Discussion item on tennis court resurfacing.
It was brought to my attention last year, and Dave Davison and I did go out and look at the tennis courts. The recommendation on most tennis courts is about every 7 years. They were done in '07 at the end of the building project, so we are right at 7 years. I'm gonna let Dave Peterson get into the explanation of the poles and the actual resurfacing project and what that would look like. But it is now, the resurfacing can go maybe 1 or 2 years more, but there's some pole situation. Why don't you explain that a little bit better, Dave?
Yeah, the poles that are out there are starting to toe in and they're pulling out from the footings. We literally last year had to pound some of them back down in to be able to have them function right. And with the cost of resurfacing, you know, it's, my thought that it's a lot of money to still have the poles in the shape that they're in. So I had a couple companies come out, take a look at crack filling, resurfacing. We do have some significant cracking going on and some peeling and some bubbling. And what they recommend typically, without being able to clear all the snow off, from 2 different companies, you're looking at about $5,000 per quart. With 8 quarts, it's about $40,000. Now, if you're going to take care of the poles, the bids that I got are, the one in front of me is $10,900. Removal of the poles, sleeving, new poles put in. So you're looking at complete job, a little over $50,000 to get the courts back to where they probably should be.
When was the last time the poles were realigned?
They're original.
They're the original.
Okay.
But that's, what he's saying is if you do the resurfacing, you don't fix the pole problem.
Well, I know, I'm just wondering if they were just fixed 7 years ago and we're having problems again already.
Oh, no.
They're original, they've never been repaired before.
These, I'm assuming the poles from the net,
Yes,
right?
yes.
Not the outside.
No,
Just making sure.
no, those are good, those are good.
And there's no commitment to whoever right now, it's just, that's an estimate by a certain company that.
Just an estimate, that's all, yep.
We wanted ballpark just to even know what to
Right.
tell you.
Yep, these are budgeting numbers. I mean, to be honest with you, and that's why both companies went with about $5,000 per quart on the resurfacing and the crack filling, because they really don't know how wide, how deep, all those play a factor. So it could be a little less, could be a little bit more. That's a good estimate
Okay.
number for budgets.
So are we able to get away with another year? We need to do something before the next season.
We could go, we could get away with another year, yeah. Is it something that's gonna need to be looked at in the near future? Yeah. They're starting to show their wear and tear. It's been 7 years, so absolutely.
And it's all 8 courts, not specifically like court 2 and 2, 3, and 4?
Not really, no. No, it's pretty, pretty even wear. There is some bubbling and some peeling in some specific areas, but there's really no reason for it. But yeah, they definitely need to be done.
Will it cost more if we do it like next year versus this year? I mean, can they get that much worse? Would it be more to resurface at that time? I mean, I don't know how they resurface courts, so.
Yeah, I wouldn't be able to tell you. It's
Okay.
just the cost of product, and they'll only bid out for probably 30 days, maybe
Yeah.
about 60 days. It's just
I do know one answer to that is in '07, it cost about that. Interestingly enough, it was about
Yep.
the same. That was with no poles, but the cost, when I talked to Dave Davison about this, it was about $5,000 a quart, so.
And I believe there's some other schools that we've had discussions with that's about what they're paying also. So that's, it's a pretty solid number.
Just be glad you're not Lake City. They had a sinkhole happen in their tennis court, so. Because they kept coming over to use our courts.
Is that a swimming pool?
Is that something where you would have to reschedule tennis, or is it get done
I
quickly,
think
or
if
how
it
does
was
that?
done over the summer, right?
Yeah.
It wouldn't be a long project.
No, it wouldn't be a long project.
Lake City did have to do that because of that situation.
That's
but-
why it was a sinkhole.
I really didn't get time frames, but I could definitely do that, if the board would like me to. And it's something that's not gonna go away. It's only gonna get worse. As much as I hope for that.
The way they are now, is it prohibit us from playing?
No. No.
It's just kind of an embarrassing state right now.
Well, it's starting to get that way, yep. It's wear and tear, it just looks used, It's still, it's still a good court. Or they're good courts, I should say. I know there's a lot of pride with the tennis team and a lot of teams that come in here and, they want to be proud of where, their home court, so I understand that.
It's really the community tennis courts as well, because they get used a lot.
They really do.
And that's a good thing, that's what we want.
Did I get paid a community education then? Thank you. That's 12 months out of your life.
Some of the other schools and the other superintendents I talk to is, sometimes there's fundraising efforts within that organization, and I hate to keep using Lake City, but Lake City, they raised $25,000 on their own.
Sure.
Is that something anyone has approached you on, to do a big fundraising effort on that?
No, nobody's brought that up to me. In fact, I don't think tennis even has a fundraiser right now.
Okay,
I did mention it to the coaches when they came to me.
okay.
I recommended that might be a good idea as I'm throwing these numbers out to
Right.
maybe help with this effort and.
Because I'm just concerned, I mean, we certainly, just so the board knows, do not have funds for this. Certainly the funds that we allocate every year with anticipation of this coming has been put in facilities, and as everyone knows, we've been really hit with facilities, with boilers and some other big items that have happened. So we certainly allocate every year because we know we're gonna have to do the tennis courts at some point. I guess I don't need to tell you what you already know. Those funds have been used for emergencies in our facilities. So if you were to do it this year, and if you opted to go that route, which we would support, we would make it happen, we would have to make reductions to make this happen. And it would need to be added on to the reductions that we're already looking at. So.
And they are playable courts. I'm gonna state that again. There's nothing stopping the team from playing on these courts right now.
Keep it up 1 year.
No.
They were just out there, I don't know.
Oh, well,
We're
hey.
not going to pay for this in our next budget, repair it in April or with a net 60 or something like that.
My answer would be no, Josh,
Not just
no.
hold off a year, do it in April, but pay for it in July. We've done that with vendors before, they gotta do it, but then you have to build it into the 16 budget or the 17, whichever way you put it. I'll try to put it off.
I like the fundraiser idea.
We've had,
Hey, community meetings to help.
we've done it in the past with the purchase of school buses, though. We've laid it off until, made a
Yeah,
purchase in May, and
A lot of vendors are okay with that. This is all a matter of working out through them. The invoice can't be paid until after July 1, the invoice can't be dated until July 1 because for audit reasons, it gets put back into that previous fiscal year.
But I don't
we've
even know
worked
what
with
we would move
companies.
around for next year.
No, for 16's budget, it's very tough.
Yeah, I think
It'd
even
have to be a
July
year
of
off
this year
or
would
if you-
still be, we would still have to make reductions to make it happen.
If you did it in April of 16 for 17's budget, might be.
Maybe, that would be amazing.
I kinda agree with Rob, I'd kinda like to see them try to get some fundraising on their own to start with, to be honest with you.
I
think that's
do
a
know
good
other
idea.
organizations do that, and I can give them the name of the people in Lake City that I talked to. It might be worth it. I mean, theirs was quite a bit more, that's why they fundraised up to 25,000, but I don't know.
Maybe we get donations from the community for the people who use the courts too.
Well, I think it needs to be known when they come to use the courts, that there's a fundraising drive going on to repair them. So when people do walk up to use them, they realize, hey, we should probably look to donate or help with this.
It's just an idea.
And that's, I'm gonna go back to when we built the facility. I made the suggestion at that time, the charge, you don't have to charge that much, but at some point, the field house floor is gonna need some resurface work, just because of the use. And it's a good thing that people are using it. I know people are great because they pay taxes to build a facility, but we pay taxes for a lot of stuff that we're never able to use as common folk too. But school's gonna be on hook for a lot of maintenance issues in the future. And thankfully the community is using the facilities, but it's not gonna lessen the cost to get repairs when it's needed.
if you had an opportunity to look at the Trib, I think it was this morning, there was an extensive conversation about the plight of schools that have facility issues that they can't afford. I mean, they're simply making payments to get through the next month and the next year, and they simply can't put any money aside for facilities upgrades or repair, so pretty common problem. Would it be advisable for us to get a bid on this, just to see what we're looking at officially?
You almost couldn't do that till spring though, could you?
Well-
Yeah, to get it to where you're holding them to it, it needs to be cleared. They need to take measurements, they need to have all the snow off of it. The width of the crack makes a big difference on the patching of the crack, you know, things like that. The post itself, that's a solid number. So I think we're gonna be pretty darn close, but I can definitely make some calls and I can see if they'll commit to it.
What if we were to fix the poles now, find that 10,000, do that, but then you gotta resurface too at the same time, is what you're saying? You can't fix the poles without resurfacing.
Well, you're gonna notice the repairs, put it that way, yeah.
Okay.
I mean, really, yeah.
That makes sense, yep, yep.
I mean, they're digging it out and they're re-sleeving it and they're breaking up.
You got warm weather till Wednesday then.
Well, after today, it's looking pretty darn
Well, so I mean,
good.
you got 38 on Wednesday, 35
They
tomorrow,
do
and
something
sunny
quick, they
after
must have the
that.
green or something.
We're 9 degrees next Monday for a high.
Yeah, this would be more on your to-do list. I understand we don't have to get bids tomorrow on it, but something that we can look to.
Oh, sure.
At least get if it's the 1st of May, you get them, I guess that's what it is.
You bet, yeah, that's no problem at all. I'm thinking we're gonna be pretty close to the numbers I just gave, to be very honest with you, but we can, you know, get them to, put an official bid in.
And you know, this is a discussion, I think it's a good discussion. We'll have a couple more discussions. We don't really need to make a decision now anyway, but it's good for you guys to be aware of what's going on.
And as we get more serious towards it, you know, we can get a few more companies out there too. I mean, I think once it comes to spring, people are gonna be hungry for work, and especially a seasonal business like this. And, you know, maybe we can get a couple good bids in.
Okay, good conversation. Item H, discussion of round 1 of possible reductions, and that would be attachment H, which you have. And my guess is that round 1 will also be round 2 and round 3, so this is the first phase.
Yeah, we can review the process. What we're going to do is do a discussion tonight. We like having you guys talk about it. Community members can come forward to you, discuss things with you, and then after that, the next board meeting, you'll make the final decisions. So tonight is just discussions. We do have a breakfast club committee that meets. Administration makes the final call on everything that's put on here. We have already started working on round 2 things, ideas. You know, the teachers are coming forward with a lot of things, good ideas in that sense. But this is what we have brought for you tonight. This won't change what will be on your next board meeting for a voting item. So those things won't change. I'll quickly just kind of run down them, and then if you have questions on specific ones, we can get into more detail. Is that okay with you, Bob?
Fine.
Okay, the ALC moving up to the high school. Tim has done a really nice job of moving a few things around. We've got a drafting room that isn't used maybe to the capacity that it should be. So if you think of the draft room area, there is a health room in there, and half the time the teachers are in the gym and half the time they're teaching health. We have a boys' health room and a girls' health room, which we don't really need, but because we have extra classrooms, we're able to do that. So we can convert that side wall into the ALC. This was the first item on here because Tim feels this is one of the best things that we could do, and I think the whole admin team really, really agrees with that. Our staff will no longer have to race down to the ALC back, forth, back, forth. It gives us the possibility of some revenue, some rental property that could go into that building. We'll no longer have Riverside there. So down the road you can make the decision if you want to sell it or use it as a rental. So I think that the revenue source could come in with that. We estimated $80,000, and that's working with Josh on numbers and Tim on staffing is where you save the most. It's about $1,400 a month just in utilities and phone lines, and you have to have a 911 line, and the expenses just add up every time you have an additional site. We were actually really excited for this opportunity, and everyone on the group really liked this one. All transport going to Red Wing. This is your cost savings. If you remember when Goodhue County Ed District came in and talked about transportation savings, we are going to be we won't have to do 2 van routes. We are also going to work with Kenyon Wanamingo. They are going to bring their bus or their van over, pick a few of our students up along the way on that direction. We're going to meet here, and then all those kids will be driving over to Red Wing in one vehicle. Again, cost savings, and could possibly be some revenue because Kenyon Wanamingo will pay us for that transportation. But $14,000 is the $7,000 and the $7,000 for each van route. Secretaries for half an hour. I know we've kind of gone back and forth on this. We actually have had 2 years with them back at their full hourly rate. Some discussion with the admin was a reduction of a full-time in each building, or there certainly has been some conversation about the counselor having a full-time secretary. That is very unique to Cannon Falls, but serves a pretty strong purpose. With that, we've decided to go back to secretaries off a half an hour. We thought that worked really well. A former board member really felt strongly that we should bring that half an hour back, so we did. But administration agrees that half an hour, and the secretaries agree on this, just so you know as well, that that isn't the best use of their time.
And you're gonna stagger those times?
Yeah, we will. Good point. One will start at 7, one will start at 7:30, one leaves at 3:30, one leaves at 4. You still have coverage, but it is somewhat overwhelming to have that many secretaries in the offices at all times. Snow removal in-house. This has been a really interesting process, and I really appreciate Dave Peterson working with me on this. We will look at doing snow removal in-house. Right now that costs us about $60,000 a year. About $16,000 of that is overages every year. We have designated that money to go into paying for the Kubota. That'll be paid, Kubota, sorry. I know, every time, Kubota. The thing is cool. We'll just call it the cool vehicle. And so we will make 2 years, we'll have payments on that. So in a year, we'll have an additional $16,000 if that makes sense. But for right now, we'll take the remaining $40,000 that the snow removal costs us. The $20,000, we will have to buy a truck and a blade. I'm working with the city. They'll go back to where they used to make up their first loop through. That technically is their street, and they know that, and they're willing to work with Dave and I, and we're really excited about that. You know, there is going to be some cost in additional staffing. You know, we've estimated about $6,000 probably in overages, overtime, if a custodian has to come in at 3 a.m. to start clearing lots and things like that. But with all that said, and we've been really cautious with our number. This will probably be more, but we feel very, very comfortable with a $20,000 savings. We've got a couple team teaching situations going on here. Humanities has always been taught by 2 teachers. Art and English, both the kids get a half art credit and a half English credit. And it has been nice to teach together because the class is together. But we're kind of at the point where first semester can be art and the second semester can be English. The same curriculum can be covered. It makes sense. The reason why this .2 is only $5,500 compared to what normally would be around a $10,000 mark, they currently get a 6th assignment because of it, so the only savings that comes from this is the additional time that person puts in. So it's really only a semester of savings, if that makes sense to you. But it's still $5,500, and our team thought that that was something to look at. You have seen this before, different approach, but team teaching of band. These are the times that those 2 band teachers that we've discussed in the past work together and are in the same classroom teaching and doing lessons together. So 0.5 of that salary is on there. 504 coordinator, if you remember what that is, it's a part off of special education. Students can be on a 504 plan and they need a coordinator. Right now, we're lucky to have a teacher on staff that does a fabulous job with this. But it's 0.2 of her day. We could not fill the rest of her contract, so she was assigned this. Kristen Kirk is the school psychologist. She will be full-time next year at no cost to us because she'll be running through Goodhue County Ed District. So we can move the 504 coordinator over to her for free or add it to her duties. And this will only be for the high school, middle school, I should state. But the 0.2, the 504 coordinator, will be $12,040. So if we add that all together, we come up with $174,000 for the first round of reductions. Do you have any questions or specifics on those?
We're trying to get to 3.
Well, we're trying to get to 400. 450 would be nice. 400 is we have to do 400. And at our board retreat, we kind of agreed to the 450 mark, somewhere in there. That puts you at that 6%, Kurt, that we talked about.
So how does the team teaching for band and humanities get saved? I understand the semester, but are we cutting a 0.5 then of the band teachers? Is that what that is?
It would be the team teaching portion. We still need band, and we still need everything covered. But it's kind of things like 6th grade band only meets once a week. 7th grade band meets every other. but they're performing together. If you've noticed when you go to a band concert, 7th and 8th grade perform together, but they're doing their class periods separately. Tim is really come up with a new scheduling technique where they can actually practice together, which would make the performance even stronger. We're trying to build those bands and make them even more powerful. So we have heard what you said in the past about cutting a full-time band teacher, and we really respect that. So what we're looking at here, and the whole Breakfast Club, all the teachers are there and all the reps, we agreed to maybe the team teaching portion is what I think is really hard on the staff, because everybody wants a team teacher, that'd be great. And so we're looking at just that portion of the job.
So would that be a 0.5 from one of the positions, one of the full-time positions then?
It'd be 0.5 of one of the band, yep. And again, we're not looking at specific positions, we're just looking at reductions and worry about attachment of staff to that later, to keep it fair and kind of consistent with everything.
That means we'd have a 1.5 in the band department.
That's correct, thank you.
With the snow removal in-house, I know you're talking, now this year, the savings that we're having, Dave's using the diesel fuel to run his Kubota everywhere in the world, but are we saving money this next year again then?
We absolutely are, we don't do any overages.
Aren't we taking that money and paying for the Kubota as we use it, so it's a wash?
Right, that's why the bill is 60, the Kubota for the 16, or let's just use 20, takes us down to 40. That's why the savings is only 20 instead of more, because we would need to buy some.
And after that's
Those
paid off,
overages are spent already.
Yeah.
We count those for the
We count
Kubota.
those towards the Kubota.
Right. The overages we don't have, but that's going to pay for the Kubota, so where's the savings again?
By not having the overages.
But you're using that to pay for the Kubota.
So,
Right,
yeah.
that's a wash, so that you get take
Right.
60, so we're down to 40,000, our bill is 40, that's what we need to account for.
But we're still paying 20 up to Nutria, right? To pay for the Kubota.
No, no.
What are we paying for the Kubota this year?
We're paying the 16,000.
Up to there, so our bill is
Still
40.
60,000.
plus 16 going up there? Or is it 40 minus 16 going up there, we're actually only paying like
60
24?
minus 16.
Are we renting it?
60 minus
No,
16?
we'll own it in
Yes.
2 years.
Okay,
Where's that?
so the bill is still 60, we're just
Nutria.
breaking 16,000 of it off the bill and putting it up for buying a unit.
Well, essentially it's on how I guess you word it, but yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it's not money that's gonna stay in the account, it's gonna just
Correct.
go to a different location.
Yes.
This is truly the savings on here.
Yeah, it actually will probably end up being more, but doing it in-house, we're gonna, the
I
40,000,
understand, but right now, we're not doing it in-house next year, right? Are we buying a truck next year and starting next fall?
Correct, next season, next snow season, next November.
So we'll be buying a truck, a plow truck, and then buying the Kubota
This
yet
summer.
still?
Yes.
so that's how we
Okay.
get the 20,000
Correct.
savings.
And then looking onward, you have your initial upfront cost for your equipment. Your 2, 3, 4, and 5 is where you're really gonna see your savings.
Okay, so we're gonna need to approve expenditure to purchase one truck, a 1-ton truck with dump box on back and plow in front? Is that gonna be
Some-
this
We're
summer?
gonna just put on a blade on the front.
Yeah.
Right.
And then we're gonna either lease or rent a skid loader.
Okay.
What does that do to your team? We went to this a few years ago because we couldn't get it done.
Well,
And we had, now
now
we
you
got
got
big blades.
you got a
coming.
great guy to manage it. Who's gonna make it happen. But bottom line is I gotta be honest with you, the way it's set up right now, half the time we're out there now anyways.
Yeah.
Now you're just paying
Every
for
morning.
someone else to be sitting at home.
But it would seem to me a truck with a blade on the front and whatever else does not appear to be the equipment that we've been paying for in the past. Can we get it done with what you're saying?
Yes, absolutely.
We do
The
have-
beautiful thing about this is we're on one site. That's the dream that we have here for me personally.
And would the city be hireable if we needed, let's say we had a snow like last year, and we couldn't push it far enough away, would they come in and haul for a price?
I'm working with Ron.
We could always have that done, but with the equipment that we have, we'll be able to also push it.
We do have the white truck that we'd be able to sell to use towards a new truck as well. So we do have some older things that we can sell to.
And when you push that snow up into the corner, like I've seen it in the past, we're talking 30, 40 yards of snow there until it melts. Are you gonna take that somewhere? Are you just gonna let nature take its course?
Mother Nature, let it melt.
So you don't think it, enough snow in 1 year, you wouldn't need a payloader to be pushing that into the overflow there in the ditch?
Ideally,
and
no.
like
I mean, it's all on how you plan and you prepare for the long winter. So ideally, you got your first snowfalls, you just do it to the curb, you wait for your freeze. Once you have your freeze, then you get your equipment on the grass and you move it to wherever you need it and start planning ahead. But I gotta be honest with you, you plan every time there's a winter, you plan for 80 inches plus. Because you just don't know.
Dave
So-
has done most of our removals this year because they've all been under 2 inches, so
Yeah, it's
every
been my
time it's an
dream.
inch and a half, and so they don't come, so, to be honest, he's here at 3:30 in the morning plowing snow, so.
I'm just looking how we get to 20. I mean, it sounds like the first year may be with expenditures, I don't know if you priced out, we leasing or buying the truck for the,
The truck,
It wouldn't be new.
we would purchase a truck,
not saying that Andy's. He dropped the training that last year.
yeah. probably.
Andy would be in charge of finding us a truck, though. We trust him to
And he do
find
the
us.
maintenance on it.
Right now, to be honest, they're using my truck. It works well, and I
Yeah.
don't use it in the winter except to check roads. So we've got a 1-ton truck that we're using, and it seems, when we need to move bleachers or anything like that, we just use my vehicle.
Yeah.
And it's been working real well. I'm sure my insurance agent would love to hear that.
But Rob, I mean, what your point is right. You're right. I mean, you never know exactly until you get the exact
Right.
numbers on that equipment and what your savings is gonna be.
Yeah, I mean, it's gonna be a gamble in any way.
Absolutely.
Whether you bring it in-house, not bring it in-house, how much snow you're gonna get, the equipment we have, it's always a gamble.
I mean, you have a year like we're having this year, you're gonna save, you're gonna far exceed
Oh, yeah.
that.
And that's what, we did estimate low one year. I actually think the savings could be more, but we thought we better, I want to be honest with you and,
Well, the
but no
second
matter
you
what,
do
we
it,
know
we're
what to
gonna
say
get a
that.
ton of snow. And, I mean, it's gonna be up to Mother Nature.
Right.
So the secretaries thing, like you said, we've been on again, off again over the last few years with it. And at one point in time, I think the alternative presented to the secretaries is we may have to cut. And they said instead of that, we can realign and we'll each take some time off. So they're supportive of this as much as they can be.
Right, they've got a rep on the committee. She took it back to the group as well. The staggering of time really works
Yeah.
out well. Derek is here, he can allude to that too. For the last 2 years, they've had the half an hour back, but I really don't think anyone, even the secretaries, have felt it was absolutely necessary. It's not a huge reduction. To be honest, we probably should be looking at staffing. For our number of students and secretaries, we're actually high on staffing. But remember that our cashiers are actually coded under the kitchen. So even though Stephanie sits out front here and it certainly has secretarial duties, and so does Phyllis Altoff in the elementary, remember they're being coded under the kitchen. So it's a little bit of a false, I think our number is right the way we code them. But Derek, maybe you can allude to how it works to do the staggering. Did that work in your?
It does. I mean, I worry a little bit more at the elementary by doing it. I don't like having only one.
Sure.
And my biggest concern is the security system. Because we let people in and out in the morning, if we always keep the doors open until a certain time, then we're fine. But if we ever change that policy, it's a lot of work. I got a chance to do it finally the other day. I literally was the only secretary there when we sent secretaries to the training, and I didn't realize how much work it is to try and do your normal job and the security system. So I have a little bit more respect for them, and that's why, I know, trust me, I know they run the building. That's not principal, it's them. But really, is this my favorite cut? It's not. But if they're willing to make it work, then I'm all for it. But it is what it is. But then again, if we didn't have to cut, it'd all be easy. So I get that too. So.
Anyone else? So this this is presented right now as a discussion
Yep,
item.
I just want you guys to talk about it. I would imagine after community members see this, Nora will write her article. You know, you might get a couple calls, and that's what we want people to do.
Yep.
That's very appropriate. I think it's better than you vote with kind of you're voting for the people you're representing, so.
And the next phase to this is, will we be, the way it's been planned out, we've been okaying these reductions at the next meeting? Will we go to round 2 items next?
Yep, round 2 will be discussion. Those will get more difficult. There'll be some staffing. You've approved, you know, kind of where you want class sizes to be. So we will be looking at that. And then registration will also be done. Registration is currently coming in, and there's certainly areas that it's going to be tough to fill a teacher. So we'll look at that. We also have several, you know, people looking at different options for next year. So a lot of that comes to February, you know, people, if they want to retire or anything like that, those numbers start coming in too, so it's a little tougher.
It always is tough in the past.
That's true.
Or make reductions, is the euphemism, I guess.
Right.
Okay. Thank you for that information. And thanks everyone for the work that they're putting into this to present this to us. Reports. Board members, do you have anything for the cause? Anything that you've gone through?
Are we gonna be following through with the finance committee on before every meeting, or is that gonna be, you know, how we did a little bit more often, now we're coming to the budget process? We're gonna be meeting a little bit more?
We almost have to meet after we make some of those cuts so that we can realign our budget for the upcoming year. So the finance committee was actually meeting before, so we kind of knew that 400 number, that's how we arrived at that number. So the plan would be to keep with the quarterly type meeting and then meet after the reductions, looking already at next year. If you'd like to do it sooner, we certainly can.
I guess I'd like to just meet one time and just kind of get the ducks in a row and just see, kind of get me familiar with it again and as to where we're going.
It'll be the same information we presented at the retreat, kind of where you'd be at each one.
And that'd be fine.
Hard to change it in the process now because, you know, but, okay, we can certainly do that.
Sure, I think that's valid. We
Yeah,
can
you bet.
take these, we can take these to them as well, and maybe they have some rationale on behalf of the community, so.
Sure.
Good plan. I would like to see that as
Before
well.
round 2 or?
Yes.
Yeah.
I
Before
think
round 2,
so.
you got it.
One of the, meetings that Will went to, or most of us went to up at the MSBA, was for the superintendent review. And I'm wondering when we're gonna put that onto our agenda and start, there's a whole, seems like a whole new process that we haven't, I don't know if it's been introduced to it, but it's gonna be a lengthy process as well. That we should probably start working at while it's kind of fresh in everyone's head. And I know it's been a while since we've had one. To me, it would only be fair.
Yeah, I think it's incumbent on us to have them as well. You know, MSBA gives us some direction on that, they give us some opinions on that. I think we take some of what they have, which they're valuable, good, and some of what we've done in the past, which I think is good as well, but we need to get started on.
Yeah.
And we have had some, we began the process already, and based on what, you know, I'm seeing at the MSBA personally, we can stop that and begin again. I think that would be a good idea, I think.
I think with the work you've already done this year, it's still something, and we could use that for this year. And then maybe look at that May time period where you start building up your goals and everything for the following year. And the new year starts July 1. You know, if we start working on that now, we'd be really set up well for the next year. It's very similar to what we did with the principal evaluations and the teachers' evaluations. We kind of used what we had going on, and then we developed that. For example, Derek and I today, we're going to meet his mid-year evaluation. And so we could kind of use what you've already done as the next step. So it's not, I mean, certainly that wouldn't go to waste, but if there's small things we can gather out of there or big things we can gather out of that, use that. I think that it's still, we could use that for the next step. Does that make sense?
I agree with Bob, scrap it, start over.
Okay, okay.
Well, I think it'd be useful for the goal setting, for sure.
Sure. Well, and I could certainly come up with 3-4 goals. I think that was the recommendation that I feel are goals that I want to meet. And then you have your goals and see how well those mesh, and that wouldn't hurt to do that soon.
Right.
it's interesting when you talk to other board members, and I had a chance to talk to some chairs as to what they do, and most of them weren't at that meeting. They're just saying, this is what we do, this is what we've done in the past, it's working for us. And so, you know, if the MSBA wants to make this recommendation, fine, but it doesn't fit us. So, you know, there is still that logic for some districts that we're gonna keep doing what we're doing. So, but it never hurts to change, it never hurts to review what our processes are, so. Yeah, I would think scrapping it would be the right idea.
I mean, from my perspective, this is just me. Kind of like the principals, the teachers, the superintendents who, and one day will go to another district. How will those reviews be viewed by another district who has a completely different process? Some type of a standardization would at least be across the boundaries a little bit better so they can understand what was being reviewed, how good are they, where are their strengths and where are their weaknesses. But if you've got people that do things completely different, sometimes how would a new board look at that and go, it's a good candidate or not a good candidate? That's my thoughts. Personally, I'd love to see the state standardize it more. But I'm an old military guy and we standardized everything, and it worked really well.
Yeah, I think the MSBA is at our beck and call for things like policies, things like evals, and they're not necessarily saying, follow this footprint. They're saying, here's what we recommendation. This is what has worked for other schools, so good thought. Anyone else, board members?
Did everyone get the invitation to the Goodhue Ed District all board member?
They just moved it
dinner?
to Red Wing
Yeah.
today, I saw.
And there was an email, they moved it to the Red Wing High School, and there'll be a tour of the new building at 4 o'clock. It will start at 4 o'clock that day, February 5th, which is a Thursday. So.
They feed you really well.
And there's an RSVP, they'd like that by January 26th, so if you haven't mailed that yet,
That's
which I
tomorrow.
haven't, oh, whoops.
Good job, Brenda.
I just brought that up for you.
Just an example.
This is what it looked like, you should have already mailed this, but.
Guess you're not going, huh?
I guess
I
that's a
just found mine.
Thursday evening as well,
Yeah.
so
Yeah.
usually fits in folks' plans, but when you can, I opened mine up tonight.
I think I'll email my response.
Okay. Student report, Matt, what do you got?
All right. So tomorrow is the beginning of the third quarter. We have officially made it through halfway through the 2014-2015 school year already. Going by fast. The humanities students have finished their semester-long projects and they have them displayed in various displays across the middle and high school. Take a look at them. I mean, a majority of the students spent upwards of 30 to even 40 hours on these projects. They hand make them, they do the research. They're really great projects. The Cannon Falls boys varsity played 4 games this past weekend. A couple of games went to overtime and they won a game. It's a great work. Congrats to the debate team of Miranda Felton and Sydney Earhart for earning 7th at the debate state tournament. At the University of Minnesota, they competed in 6 preliminary rounds in just 2 days. So they had a lot of work. Coach Dudley said the Bomber wrestling team is struggling in the regular season this year, but they are working hard to get better. Their overall record this year is 2-14. This upcoming Thursday, they will have a meet at Kenny-Wanamingo at 7:30 p.m. The girls' varsity basketball team is also working hard too. They've had some struggles as well. They are 3-7 with a tough game against Byron tomorrow night. The Bomber dance team got first place in the high kick at the Hayfield conference meet. JV also danced well, earning 2nd place in high kick after a tiebreaker was used at the Mounds View invite to their state tournament. Congrats to both groups. JV is now done for the season. The PTO putt-putt mini-golf was a huge success, bringing golfers of all ages. In total, over 500 people attended the event, and there were no broken windows. So happy all around.
There were so many kids at that.
Yeah.
I just can't, even all these years, it's still just packed. It's neat.
Thank you, Matt. We don't have any principals, you don't have anything for the cause here?
It's not reporting.
Well, it isn't, but sometimes
Yeah,
it's just
that's
bursting with
true.
energy and confirmation. And Jake, you're good as well?
Good too.
All right. Upcoming meetings, a regular board meeting of February 9th, and you see below what's on our agenda, the approval of the next year's calendar, approval of the spring assistant coaches. Voting on round 1 will occur. And again, hopefully Kurt and I will have some time with the finance to just make a presentation or listen to their input. Enrique will be here with our 15-16 Tech Initiative Plan. He'll be here at the February 9th meeting. And what is
Yeah, it might be the February 23rd. It's coming up. We want to make sure that's done and done right. We really want to be ahead, not reporting after we've got a plan in place. So we'll be looking at next year's technology plan. I think it's really important that you guys are getting that information ahead of time versus after. So that's what he'll be doing.
Okay.
So he's at the, yeah, it says it right on there, February 23rd for him.
So we put it under the 9th, and it's on the 23rd. I gotta know that.
Lori likes doing that to you.
She's a planner.
Yeah, she is. She's a planner.
Anyone else that has any agenda items for the team here, contact Lori or Beth, and we can see what we can do about getting it on that
We
next
will have to have
upcoming
a
agenda.
referendum discussion at some point. I gave you the notes from the class that Rob and I sat in, but we will need to make some decisions on that fairly soon, if it's this fall or next fall.
And I know everybody wants to get out of here, but what was your thought on that? In 15 seconds or less. You went to that meeting.
Oh, kind of interesting, I guess, more than anything, he talked about analyzing your results from the last few failures. Who are your voters, and then capitalizing on who your voters are. If your voters are gonna be voting with the governor, then wait for the governor's election again. If the voters are not coming out for him, or, you know, you can control who you're gonna bring out, and then you can actually campaign better to get the right people out to vote. You can control the yes votes, you can't control the no votes, so really as a district, we need to find out more detail of who's been voting. And he broke it down from age groups, older to the younger, but also then you go to the different parties and find out,
Yep.
would it be better for us to wait for the next governor's election? Will it be best for this district? Some would say yes, some would say no, so.
So basically, it's, you know, paying for a service to do that, but it's really gonna guide your referendum. We've kind of gone in blind to the last couple. And he used, I thought it was nice that he allowed us to use Cannon Falls kind of as an example, so
Yeah.
it was nice.
But that's what he said was, you know, depends on who your voters really are. That's what I got out of it.
And typically, the voters that don't partake are Derek's people in the
Okay, the
elementary
young
school,
kids.
right? Yeah,
The younger parents.
so we can blame Derek.
Yes. So they have to campaign at the elementary school.
Okay, I'd entertain a motion to adjourn.
I'll make a motion.
Motion by Jerry. Second?
No, second.
I thought you guys wanted to stay. Any other discussion? All in favor of adjournment, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed? We are finished.
Are any